Yeah, hold on. Let me start it recording. All right. Well, first off, I'd like to say it's great to meet you,
Can't
man.
hear you.
Amazing to actually finally get to talk to you.
Thank you.
And also congratulations on not only the 2 IM, but the third place on your two breast.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, it was a
Yeah, I
fun
was gonna
race.
say, I was looking what it was 151.
Yeah, 51.5, I think.
Hell yeah, that's amazing.
Thank
Uh, well, yeah, honestly, that kind of brings me into the first thing I wanted to talk about. 2 IM and this your swims at ACCs. So 2 IM, what 140 point?
you. Yeah.
And so you're gonna be going into your senior year. What do you think about that for next year? Gonna go like what 139, something like that?
Um, I'm not really sure. I haven't really put too much thought into it, honestly. A lot of my training over the last few months has been geared more towards long course.
Okay.
It's 2024.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure what's going to happen this year. I don't really know what's going to happen next year either. I've just been a lot of my eyes have been set kind of on June and just like taking it day by day. You know.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say, especially with, I mean, Olympics, everything like that coming up, it's a big year for swimming. How are you preparing for that mentally? I mean, like, you figure, I mean, I'm a D3 swimmer, so I don't really have to prepare for anything huge other than like conference meets and stuff like that. But I mean, on such a big stage like that, like, how do you like handle all that?
Um, well, I mean, I have this person that I talk to help me kind of like play with my mental game and like make sure my mental game's all straight. Um, but honestly, like I notice that the more I think about it, the more I like think about it, like on the day to day, like when I'm driving or during practice stuff, it kind of like makes me more anxious. So I try to like just like enjoy the practices that I'm doing and like focus on the reps that I'm doing. So I don't get like stressed out for the meets because like if I think about it too much, then I get to the meet and I'm like freaking out. Or since I've like, sometimes I've thought about it too much and I've thought about my like it happened when I was at Pan Am's. I thought about it too much leading into it, and then I got there and I was like, I kind of like built it up in my head to be like for some reason so much bigger than it actually was. I made it seem like it
Yeah.
was gonna be like a football stadium with like 30,000 people, and it was like a great experience. Don't get me wrong, but obviously I forgot that it's like swimming. So like,
Yeah.
there's not gonna like there are a few thousand people there, and it's definitely sick. But I kind of like overhyped it so much in my head, and I was like, and I kind of was like not in the right frame of mind to race.
Yeah. No, I get that. I mean, yeah, you figure, I mean, swimming, especially at a bigger stage, I mean, it's not going to be comparable. It's not even going to be comparable really to a college football game or anything like that. But still, it is definitely like, I mean, I know in high school we'd have our student section was basically, or our spectators, it was just parents and a couple students. Like it really wasn't that many people. And even in college, I mean, it's definitely a lot more now that I'm in college. But yeah, it's definitely a lot less than other sports. But I mean, even at that, you have a couple thousand people watching you. That's still definitely going to be a lot to stress about.
No, it was really cool. It was really cool. Yeah, the first time I ever felt like a lot of stress in a meet when I was racing was it was Winter Juniors in 2019. Um, it was the first final I was ever in, and I qualified. Well, not the first final because I finaled in 2 IM, but in the 100 free, I qualified top seed going to
Yeah.
finals, and I was top seed, and I was freaking out. I was so anxious because like I walked out and I saw, because I'm from Connecticut, I'm used to like all these small little meets in
Yeah.
Connecticut, you know. Um, and then I get out to juniors and I see like the stadium's packed and like all these people are there and like the sidelines are packed and I freaked out. I choked a little bit in the race. Um, but yeah, no, like I feel like if you kind of like can prepare yourself in the right way, you can kind of use like all the people and all the fans and the ambiance like in a way to kind of like push you in a way.
Yeah. I was going to say you don't want to mess up in front of a bunch of people, so that definitely is probably going to push you to do a little bit better.
Sure.
um and also something I also wanted to ask you about. So I was looking through your splits on your 2 IM. How do you get your splits like to all be so close to each other? Like for me, obviously my free pretty much swim the same things you do. Like I do breast and IM. So usually my free splits are good, but fly and back are just for me. But yours are really evened out. Like how have you kind of managed to, I mean, your swim cloud progression chart, I mean, it's like it's out on everything. How have you kind of managed to like get through every single stroke and like get it to the point where it's not only like good for your IM, but also like almost mastering every single stroke?
Well, back in high school, I trained USRPT, and almost every set that I did, I would do it some variant of IM.
That
Um,
okay.
yeah, so like I would do a lot of IM because like I always kind of like had like a natural knack for all the strokes. But I always had like a few weak strokes and it bounced around. Freestyle was my worst stroke for a while, and then it went to breaststroke after my freestyle got better, and now it's probably backstroke. But I kind of just try to keep the amount of IM that I'm doing up as much as possible. Like I
Okay.
know, like if we're talking about just this week, or not really this week because this week was weird coming off ACCs. But like a normal week, I would do 2 to 3 IM workouts a week
Okay.
with like 2 freestyle specific workouts, and then like I'd hit like one of each of the other strokes, one fly, one back, one breast. Actually, like I don't really train breaststroke as much. Freestyle is mainly what I focus on a lot in training. But yeah, just honestly, just keeping my IM work up, and when we do a lot of aerobic work, I try to do backstroke a lot
Okay.
too. But doing backstroke aerobically has benefits for freestyle and backstroke, obviously.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, I was gonna say, what do your workouts typically look like? Because for me, I have what Monday through Friday, it's 2 practices a day minus Wednesday, and I think Friday. Honestly, I don't remember what my practice schedule was. But I mean, for the most part, we do 2 days and then weekend like a Saturday practice. I mean, is it look any different at a D1 level or is it about the same?
Yeah. Well, the way Braden has kind of structured the weeks, um, he almost turned it into kind of like 2 little mini weeks.
Okay.
So we would double Monday, double Tuesday, then we'd practice Wednesday morning, then we'd have Wednesday night, Thursday morning off, then we'd have Thursday afternoon. Um, the Thursday afternoon changed to Thursday morning this year because there's a long course crew that goes Thursday morning. So I
Okay.
go Thursday course. So right now I go double Monday, double Tuesday, single Wednesday morning, single Thursday morning. Then I'll double Friday and single Saturday morning with a lift on Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say for us it's a double on Monday and then uh lift in the mornings, swim in the afternoons every single day. What do you think about that? I mean, do you think your rest for me honestly like my Wednesday, I come into practice on Wednesday afternoon and I feel great. Like that Thursday and everything. How do you feel like with the rest that gives you? Like do you think that that's like extremely like beneficial for you or would you rather like be working?
Um, I I like the rest coming off of Wednesday morning into Thursday morning because Monday morning normally I go like hard aerobic, and then Monday night I'll go like 2 free, and then
Yeah.
the morning Tuesday I'll go fast backstroke, and then Tuesday night I'll go fast again, and then Wednesday morning I'll go power. So having Wednesday afternoon to kind of like fully recover and have my body be able to like regenerate as much as possible, I can bounce back and have a really good Thursday morning practice. And then when I have Thursday morning practice, since I have the night off, the rest of the week is pretty easy because I only have 3 workouts left. But I came off of like almost like a full 24 hours of recovery.
I was gonna say, yeah, honestly, that's a long time for not swimming, and that probably feels really good. Um, Another thing I wanted to ask you about, gosh, I had a lot I wanted to ask about. So your breast, obviously, I mentioned earlier, you got third place on it, 151. How do
Yeah.
you do that? I'm struggling right now. I'm just trying to break 1 minute. Like right now on my 100, that's my biggest goal is breaking a minute. Whenever I can. But especially on a 200, like my 200 time is atrocious compared to my 100. But
Mhm.
how do you like hold your endurance for that long? Because I know the one breast and two breasts are completely different events. I mean, you figure like one breast is an all out sprint, two breasts, you're kind of having to hold that tempo. And it's more about like tempo and how far you can go with each pull. Like how are you kind of translating between one breast and two breasts? Like how are you, I guess, I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I can't really speak much on the one breast because I don't do it. But for the two breast, I mainly try to just for the two breast, I mainly try to like just allow my natural speed carry me through that first 50. So I only take 3 strokes the first 25 because I have to start, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
And then the second and third 25, I really focus on like getting into the groove of my stroke and getting into my stroke count. And I really try to like focus on getting into my line through my recovery. And then at like at like the like halfway through the fifth lap, like at the one like just before the 125, I start to pick up my tempo a little bit. I increase my
okay.
stroke rate. And then that last like 37 and a half, you're just, just racing.
Yeah. I was gonna say, first time I ever swam two breasts, I did not know how to take it out. I took out the first 100 as a sprint. My second 100, I think I was like 20 seconds slower. It was pretty rough.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah. And I guess speaking on that, have you ever had like any races like that where you just did like absolutely horrible? Like how do you like I know like you're a extremely high level swimmer. Like how do you deal with like bad swims and stuff like that? Like whenever you have like a really bad race and like, get out, see times, like how do you like process that and deal with
um, I'll be honest with you, I'm pretty bad at it, but I've been like that's like honestly, it's funny you bring that up. That's been like my main mental focus point over the
that? Okay.
last year or so is learning to like deal with races when I don't perform where I expected to. Because in high school for such a long time, I had so many races and none of them were bad just because of the way my body was developing, you know.
Yeah.
Um so when I got to college and like things like changed and like they were really different, I had to kind of learn how to kind of like take in all the factors, and I had to kind of realize that, I would always like remind myself like the type of training that I'm doing is different than what I did in high school, because like since I was USRPT, I was able to
Yeah.
swim fast where I wanted to,
Hmm.
because they like you don't really like taper for USRPT, you like rest for a
Yeah.
few days. Um, so I would like remind myself of like the different training that I was doing and like the different point in the season I was in, and I'm also like a really hairy guy, so like when I
A shave
shave,
down probably helps.
yeah, so when I shave, it does a lot for me. And it's mainly just like I remind myself like I'm unshaved, I'm tired, I'm in the middle of training, and I just kind of like remind myself of like the key like points in like my training over the last few weeks that I've done recently to like support that I actually am in a good spot and like I'm
Yeah.
not doing bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel that. And yeah, that was actually the next thing I was gonna ask. Like shave down, taper, everything like that. Like this year, I mean, you performed really well at ACCs. I mean, how do you feel about that? How do you think your taper went? Everything like that. Like how did you feel throughout the entire thing?
um, it was pretty good. I only got like about a week taper because I just wanted to qualify and post some times that
Yeah.
were in the circle seated heats. And I didn't really want to be like an on the bubble guy. I just kind of wanted to get my A cut.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good meet. I kind of rolled the dice and swam the 2-3 on that middle day instead of doing the 100 fly
Yeah,
like
I saw that. You did really good at that. What? You got like 13th place, something like that?
I got 17th. I had a pretty bad
17th. 17th.
I had a pretty bad morning swim. But then I won the C final.
Yeah.
And it was a new schedule for me. So because normally I'm used to doing just the 2 IM, then the 100 fly, then the two breast. But I had to do the 8 free relay on the first night, and then I backed it up with the 2 IM, and
Okay.
then I went to the 2 free the next day. So I had 6 200s within 3 days of each other. My body was never really used to that. So the schedule was really hard. So that's why like my 2 free wasn't kind of really where I hoped it would have been, especially since my 8 free relay split was what it was. um, but like it was just kind of like a learning experience, like kind of judging my body and like what my body is used to and like what my body like can do like under that kind of like that load that like the meet schedule. That's what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say. And at NCs I'm gonna end up doing the 100 fly. Um,
Okay.
but I'm gonna stay on the 8 free relay, I think. So I'll be able to still do a 2 free, but it's not gonna be as bad because with ACCs it's not, you're able to get a rest day because ACCs they drew it out to 4 days.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, so ACCs is 4 days long.
Okay.
and have you essentially have like 1 day of like rest. And that was the day before the two breaths, which is I feel like why my two breaths was really good.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, so I'm not gonna really have to worry about hitting 7 200s all within 3 days, you know.
Yeah. That's honestly that's gonna be pretty nice. And especially I mean what? I'm looking at your swim cloud right now. What you're on the relay, you went a 132.05.
Yeah.
So I mean obviously you only had a week taper for this. I mean you're focusing more for stuff later on in the year and everything like that. Whenever you actually get to that point, like what's after that, I guess. I mean, you're do you is it how do you approach that? Because I know there's some people who after their season ends they like to take like a month off and then they get right back to it. I know some people who are back in the pool the next week. Like how's your mentality like once you hit postseason?
Um, I mean, it kind of changes based off of like the year that I'm in. Actually, I'm lying. No, it doesn't change at all. I kind of can't not have swimming in my life at some point. You know,
Okay.
so like I'll take like obviously this year's gonna be different because like we gotta get ready for June. But
Yeah.
I have I'm gonna take we're gonna get back on Sunday. I'm gonna take maybe like Monday, maybe just like Monday morning off or Monday in general off. And then I'm gonna take kind of like uh the rest of that week just to kind of like slowly bring my body back into it. I'm gonna slowly get back to the groove of things.
Okay.
Um, and then I'm gonna get into full swimming. Because we're going to Colorado Springs in May. So I can't take too much time off because I want to make that training block like beneficial. And I don't
Yeah.
want to be like shape when we're there, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. That would not be good.
Yeah. No, no.
um and yeah, whenever you're I mean, obviously, as I've mentioned like a million times before, you're at a lot higher level than I am. What do you think like coming because what I think you were the 12th in your class in high school,
Think I'm not.
something like that. It was something like that, right? So going into college, like that transition from high school to college, for me, it was definitely a big transition. What was it like for you, especially going to like a super renowned program?
Um, I'll be honest, it really wasn't that good. I didn't have the freshman year that I wanted at all. Especially coming off of the Olympic year, and I had a really big summer. You know, I made semis and under free, and my confidence was through the roof. But I was also on a team where I was like essentially kind of training by myself in a way. Like I didn't really have many people like push me. That's what I mean.
Yeah,
Um, so because I was in that state of mind, my confidence was through the roof. You know, so I'd
yeah,
get to trials and I'd race with like the utmost confidence, and then coming to Raleigh, I'm getting destroyed in practices. You
yeah,
know, because like guys that can push 44 under free from like in practice, and like
yeah,
I've never seen anything like that before. Like I've pushed 47s before, and I was like, you know, like slapping the water. I was hyped, and I see this guy push a 44 right next to me, and I'm like, whoa, this is like
that
something.
is yeah, that's a little fast.
So like it was really hard because I didn't know how to deal with getting beat in practice. That was the hardest thing for me. I didn't know how to deal with um I told myself I wanted people to push me in practice, but I didn't really know like how I would respond to that.
Yeah,
And I really didn't respond in the best way possible. Um, but yeah, so freshman year I really didn't start to get into a groove until like maybe January. Um, and I didn't qualify for NCs after they brought me to ACCs. And then I just took the entire summer because I started to like figure everything out towards the end of the year. So I
yeah.
took the whole to train because I didn't really have a good training block in October. So the summer leading into sophomore year, I just trained and trained and trained um, until ACCs essentially.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I had a really similar thing. My freshman year, one of the seniors I knew, he ended up going to Cincinnati, and he was like a prodigy in high school. Like, no, he never lost a race, everything like that. And that was the number one thing he always said, when I want to go to college, I want a team that pushes me. I want a team that's going to make me a lot better. And he's definitely gotten a lot better in college. But that's also his number one thing is like he didn't know how to deal with like getting beat. Like his freshman year, like he came in, like he was really confident and just got like just ran. And that was definitely, I would say that was his biggest challenge to overcome.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to because you like want somebody to push yourself, but you don't know like what it's actually like.
Yeah. I was gonna say, because you're basically you're I mean, growing up, you're probably, I mean, as you said, you're from like Connecticut, so you're probably the best person in your area, the best person in your school, everything like that. So you're going from, oh, I'm the best at this, best at this, I don't lose, to, oh shit, I can lose now. Like,
It was tough.
um, and yeah, another really weird question. Have you ever had any injuries that have kept you out?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I have, obviously every swimmer has the reoccurring shoulder injury that they always have every now
Yep.
and then. Tough, overuse, all that stuff. But one that really kind of sticks with me, that I kind of still deal with now is the summer of my freshman year, I had an annular tear in my L5S1 disc,
Ooh.
uh, with a little bulge. It wasn't pinching on any nerves, but I wasn't able to lift for months.
Hmm.
I didn't really do anything in the weight room that was strenuous on my back. I still don't do anything that's strenuous on my back because it still bothers me. Um, and like I have to do like PT and stuff for it and all that. But yeah, that's like the only like main one that I can think of, with the exception of in my sophomore year of high school, I realized that my shoulders were really, really flexible. So I've realized that I was able to like dislocate my shoulder and just like pull it out of place and put it back in. And I kind of would like do it as like a cool trick to show my friends. And I did
Yeah.
it like over and over again, like in school, like at practices, look at this.
Ooh.
And I ended up having really bad issues. So obviously, like the ligaments and tendons, just like constantly pulling on it.
Yeah.
And then my doctor was like, "You got to stop, or else you're going to get surgery." And that was a rough one. That was a really rough one. But yeah, those two are probably the only two that really resonate with me, with the exception of the overuse every now and then.
I was gonna say, yeah, I had my stints in high school. I missed a little bit in high school, obviously. I mean, everyone has something. I just after our midseason meet, I messed up my shoulder and I was out for the rest of this season. And so that's definitely been the hardest thing for me. It's kind of like being out of the pool. I love the water. So like not being in it, I'm kind of like just tweaking out the entire time.
Rough.
Um, and yeah, like how do you deal with that? I mean, I'm good to go like within the next month, hopefully. But for you, I mean, like when you're out of the water, obviously for you, it's gonna be a lot more of a big deal than it would be for me. So especially at that, like how do you deal with that?
Um, well, I try to still find things to do in the water, um, even if I have some sort of injury. Like if my shoulder's bothering me, I'll just get on a kickboard, or if like holding the kickboard's rough, I'll just like kick on my back with hands by my side, focus on like underwaters.
Yeah.
I had my shoulder thing back in like my senior year of high school, and I didn't pull in practice for like a week. But during that week, I did just underwater work. I do resistance work with like cords
Hmm.
and bands and all this stuff. And you always can find. I always call it kind of like a blessing in disguise. You can always find something to gain from an injury. Um, and I feel like that's what I did a lot with my back, because since my back was just like really unstable, like
Yeah.
I was able to really strengthen my lower back and my core and my muscles around in order to actually brace my back, which helps my swimming because I engage my core more with all my strokes.
Yeah.
Um, so just like, but like if I'm out of the water, like I had mono once over COVID and I was out of the water for like a week and a half, 2 weeks. Just like trying to find things to do. Like I don't know, I like to play video games, so I like play video games, or I'll like watch swimming videos to try to like keep my mind to it
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
Um,
I was gonna say that's pretty much all I've done. I get in the water like a couple times a week now, especially with the season being over. I mean, nobody really doing anything. That's all I really do is I get in, just do some underwater dolphin kicks, and I'm out. I mean, there's not really much you can do. It is what it is. Uh, and yeah, especially COVID season, yeah, because you would have been shoot. So you're a junior now. You would have been what, junior year in high school whenever COVID hit? how did that impact your season? Because for me, like swimming was okay my freshman year, sophomore year. By the time it was a full year before like after COVID hit, so we were okay. But for lacrosse and stuff like that, like my other sports, I
Yeah.
didn't even have a season my freshman year.
Um, I mean, I didn't swim high school season, so I didn't really have a problem with that. Um, and because it was Connecticut, we were able to find pools just to get me in because I just trained.
Okay.
So I essentially how I don't even know how long I was out of the water for. Like during lockdown, I think lockdown was like a month. So I think I was out of the water for like a month from like March to like mid-April,
Hmm.
or no, because then I got mono. So I think I got in the water for the first time like first week of May, second week of May. So I was out of the water for about like 2 months actually. Um, and I was able to just like find pool time here and there because Connecticut was really strict with their COVID rules. So like I would sometimes people would just open up the pool just for me and my coach to go in, and I'm swimming in the entire facility by myself, and it's just me and him in there.
Okay.
We were able to kind of like make do with what we had. And then by like August, September of 2020, we were able to like the club teams were starting to like find a system to like actually run because like club teams had to stay afloat and all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of how I dealt with it. It was pretty bad. But I also think like the break was actually a lot more beneficial than people realize.
Yeah. I was gonna say honestly, like COVID, looking back on it, like in the time you're like, oh man, this kind of sucks. But looking back on it, yeah, definitely. I mean, not even just the break from like sports and stuff, because I didn't have a summer swim season either that year. Like just the break from everything, I would say definitely. I liked it at least. I didn't mind it at all. Um, and yeah, I mean, I guess mentally now, since you're done with ACCs, everything like that, how are you preparing for your next meets? How are you preparing for what's next?
Um, I so I'm back into the swing of training right now. I'm back in. So like after ACCs, we kind of take a few days to like acclimate our body. So like we took Monday morning off. Then Monday night we like floated around for like 3 grand. And then
Mhm.
Tuesday morning we went to work with some detail stuff. And then Tuesday night we started to hit some more IM stuff. And then Wednesday, Thursday we're back into it.
Okay.
Because it's too hard too early. Um, Otherwise, your body's not going to respond properly, and it's not going to be able to like bounce back as well. So, yeah, now that I'm in the full swing, I'm just in a regular training block until my taper has to come down.
And what's that gonna look like? What is your like full ideal taper look like?
I'm normally going to get about 2 weeks. Well, so that's going to be a second taper. It's probably going to be about as long as ACCs,
Okay.
uh, because I'm just coming off of a taper, and they push back ACCs a week as well. Um, so I start to kind of just like dial back in the things that I'm doing in practice. If we're gonna do like some 50s fast, maybe I'll go like 2 on, 1 off, or like 1 on, 1 off, something like that, depending on where I am in the taper. Um, and then we start to pull back in the weight room, and our weight program is geared more towards explosive stuff around um, championship season. Um, then start to like recover the body as needed. We communicate with our coaches based off of like what we feel like we could use a little bit more of. I feel like we could pull back a little bit more on.
Okay.
Uh, but yeah, that's basically it.
And I guess before I close out, I mean, I guess any advice? I mean, like as I said, don't look at my swim cloud. It's very bad. Like what makes you go fast? Like how do you feel, like what advice do you have, especially like honestly, like whenever I told some of my teammates that I was somehow able to get in touch with you to interview you, like they were extreme. They were like, how the fuck did you do that? Like, like a lot of people I know like really look up to you. Especially like whenever the first time I ever saw your name mentioned was whenever I saw that you were one of the top recruits from a class from whatever class and you just committed to NC State. So like I've always like kind of loosely followed you throughout college just because you've always just been one of those people that like I've paid attention to. I don't know why, I just always have. And especially, I mean, for myself, I would definitely say I look up to you, but I definitely know a couple of my teammates do too. I mean, what words of encouragement, anything like that? Like, what do you? Like anything else? Like what do you think
Um,
can be some good advice?
well, I think swimming is definitely a really hard sport. I feel like it's an underappreciated sport, and it's a lot more brutal than people really perceive. People who
100%.
actually don't really realize how strenuous the sport is mentally and physically.
Yeah.
Um, so for me, I would say the biggest thing is just like continue to love it.
Mhm.
Because like if your passion fades, then you're really not training for much. Like you gotta love what you're doing. You gotta love your swimming. And like I feel like if you have that passion throughout the days that you don't feel good or you feel like crap in the water, you're still going to be able to find a way to like turn it around and make a beneficial practice out of it, just
Yeah.
because of how um but yeah, I feel like that's probably the best advice I could give. Now if we're talking about like specifics like in the water, I feel like if you're talking about from a training aspect, I feel like sculling is one of the best things you can do for the sport of swimming. Because I feel like you could really gain a lot from just like getting a better feel for the water. Because like a feel for the water is kind of something you have to work on your own. It can't be like trained into you.
Yeah, you can't be taught that. You just it's just one of those things that you once you get it, you get it.
Exactly. So you gotta have a good feel for the water. It's like some days like I really started to work on my feel for the water back when I was like 15, 16. Like as soon as I got my license, I'd go to the pool on Sunday with one of my friends and we just go in the water and we just scull around for 45 minutes, an hour. Just like feel the water, feel the catch. And like if you do that enough and you just spend more time in the water and you start to actually like love and enjoy being in the water more than you actually already did, then I feel like the results are going to come anyway, because you have to love what you're doing. Essentially,
Yeah.
it's like you have to love what you're doing and you have to kind of like know what you're doing. You have to like know how water feels.
Yeah. And I guess Zoom hates me because I don't pay for Zoom, unfortunately. So we only got like what, like 5 minutes left or something like
Oh,
that.
I think it's a 40-minute time limit, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. So I mean, I guess just closing thoughts. I mean, first off, what albums are you listening to right now? Like what music, what are you listening to?
Oh, I'm gonna get roasted for this. I like Yeet.
Hey, 2093 was a banger. All I'm gonna say, I love Breathe. Breathe was the best song off
I
that
don't
album.
mind it. I don't mind it. I like Yeet. I also obviously like Utopia. I like
Utopia
Travis.
is a banger.
That came out 6 months ago or so, but I like that. Um, but I also like Eminem. I like old school stuff. I like old school Eminem, old school Biggie. Yeah, that's what I listen to. I feel like if I'm trying to get like hype for like races and stuff, I gotta listen to Yeet.
Oh,
Like
I do
yeah,
too. Honestly, Get Busy. Get Busy is my number one song. That's my walkout song.
I like Better Off.
Better Off is good. Better Off is good.
That's good, but yeah.
What video games are playing? What video games are playing right now?
Oh, it's actually funny you say that because right before I was on the call with you, I was playing video games. Um, I play Elden Ring, and I'm currently I'm,
Really?
I'm on my level one run, my level one run through right now. I have way too many hours on this game.
Dude, I have like 700 hours on it. Yeah, I have a lot of hours on it.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Elden Ring. I play Siege. Here, I have my Steam right
You
here.
play Siege, brother. Yeah, I was gonna say I play Siege. What's your highest rank?
Oh, well, I mean, I like just started. I only have 100 hours on Siege.
Okay, okay, okay.
I like Siege, so I like just got to level 50. I like Dark
Amazing.
Souls. I started playing Dark Souls because I played Elden Ring, so I want to play Dark Souls. I want to kind of go through the whole franchise.
Okay.
Uh, Apex a bit. You always have that few week Minecraft binge that you go on every
Oh,
now and
100%.
then. Yeah, I was into Fortnite back when the OG season was out, but now Fortnite's kind of bad.
Yeah. Honestly, my little brother's a sweat. He's like champ rank or whatever, so he makes me play with him, unfortunately. So I've been grinding Fortnite lately. What operators you play in Siege? Who you liking?
Oh, I run Solus. Um, I like Solus. I like a Rooney. I
Okay,
like
okay.
I go Ash. I'll go Twitch. I'm really good with Twitch's F2 for some reason. I can
The
control
F2
it
is amazing.
really good. I feel like I'm missing one. Ram. I like Ram.
Ram, yeah. I hate playing against Ram so much, but I love playing Ram.
It's bad. Yeah, Rams is good. Rams really good.
Yeah. Well, yeah, man. I guess that's it. I mean, obviously thank you for the time to come in and talk with me about swimming and everything else. But it was definitely it was great to get to know you. I mean, you're a cool dude.
Yeah, for sure, man. Thanks for having me. It was nice.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, I mean, you better kill it the rest of the season. I mean, especially with everything else ending, I'll be watching. Everyone will be watching.
Hopefully I swim really fast. You know, who knows? We'll see what
Yeah,
happens. Gotta
exactly.
take.
Yeah, one day at a time.
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. Well, man, I guess that's it. If you have any final thoughts, whatever. But yeah.
I'm good.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks again, and hopefully talk to you in the future.
Yeah, talk to you in the future, man. Thank
See you,
you.
man.
Bye.
Bye.